Hello, everyone. Good afternoon on this Sunday afternoon. I hope you are doing well. And I thought I would come and stay with you for a while and see anybody has any questions or any doubts of things that I talk about. And it's a nice weather here, sunny, birds are chirping in the wind, and beautiful greenery, no wind, no rain, pleasant weather. I was playing with some questions this morning. They are like, what are all the things that we were taught? And they were not so, you know, and discovering them and learning from the yesteryears, the ancients, right? That was quite revealing. So I sat down and wrote a few points, that came up to me that were pretty interesting, you know. Uh, First of all, they said everything is outward, right? You go and do job or develop your skills and um, work for a lot of money, and then you'll be happy and you'll be satisfied. So everything was outward. But you discover that was not so, right? From the other people's experience, from your experience, you discover no, everything is inside. It's not really going outward. You know, that was very important. Yeah, and they said you got to develop your personality, grow your personality, and develop yourself inside, get a lot of skills and a lot of skills of talking, any number of things like that, right? But that personhood and all that could be a burden. Actually, that's not so, right? Um, Outward versus inward, and nature exploitation versus nature conservation. And you have to cease to what you are, like your personality and personhood, to really know who you are. So, any number of things I began to write, and maybe a few of them came up, right? So, I'm going to write a article on this, in the LinkedIn. When I'm done with it, you could, read about it. So, it's a kind of my own life experiences, and I was really playing with it, and that kind of uh, that kind of really helped me to put things in perspective, not to uh, influence anybody, but my own reflection, right? That was very interesting. Even now, the scientists are coming to that, the things that were really said long time ago are coming back into og and then coming back into discussion, and that was very interesting. uh, what happened was, uh, there is not only reduction of the stress by understanding these truths, but also kind of a joyful feeling, lightness, and real peace. You know, that happens, and once you experience that, then you will be really living as a human being, but in touch with everything and everybody. That oneness they talk about, you see, that's what I was focusing on. You know, so some of the things I was wondering that were told to me, either directly or indirectly, right? People were not forcing or anything, but from the culture, from the society, whatever we wanted to uh, really think that is true in our experience down the line, it may be there may be doubts, right? There will be speculation and really understanding that what is appearing as truth, what is told to us, may not be so, right? That's the dilemmas that I was talking about. I was not talking about general, feeding the body or reading something. Those are okay. But if you go into much deeper exploration of these things, that looks like a fascinating thing. Okay, I was trying to get to that note that I scribbled this morning so that I could relate to that. My iPad is down. I'm going to start it and then get that note. And I'm really occupied with my new computer here, Mini Mac, and I was arranging that, and I was doing the first video on this. I usually open on the uh, several channels at the same time, right? So let me see what I wrote in my note, then it will be. I don't know why it's not opening. So anyway, that was the discussion that happened within our own mind as to what's going on, And then as I explored these things, more things have come up to the top of my mind, and I put it down on the paper. It's not coming up, so somehow it's going on in the Safari, and then it's not opening up there. But that's okay. I will get that later. But basically, the happiness that is outside job, our modern people said, and said, go and pursue it. But the ancient said it's an inside job. And our people say, go and consume, do everything to damage the earth. But the ancient said, no, conserve everything. Help the earth to regenerate itself. Don't exploit it. It's very, very important to conserve all our sources. Then we people say we are all different, we are all individual, we have different traits, and we are separated by so many things. But the ancient said, no, we are all one. There's only oneness. So explore that. So things like that came to my mind out of nothing. Nothing really inspired or anything. It just happened. All these questions have come up. So I was going to write about that, and uh, so anybody wants to come up and ask me any question or any follow up or anything, I'll be happy to be here for a while because I was enjoying the weather, and I thought I will come up and make myself available if people have any questions about anything. So the things I was talking about, the what I was told is not so. That discovery, it's not a shock, but it's more like a how much suffering goes on by understanding or believing the so-called assumptions by our education system or our society, the culture, the parenthood, everything, right? So, for example, uh, we were told each individual is unique and all that. But then ancient said, no, you're all in one consciousness. There is only one consciousness, and then that consciousness lights up your body and mind. You know, so quite contrary, right? So that kind of thing. Still does not open up. I don't know. Okay, finally it has come probably to open up. I just want to get hold of some of the points I put in there so that I can read to you guys. Okay, there it is. Okay, see, the ancient wisdom said you got to embrace the true being and inner work and self realization, and you can shed the illusion of the ego, right? And realize the inner happiness that we just talked about that. And of course, it always talked about live in the present, whereas we live in the past or the future. That's pretty evident. And recognize thoughts as objects or transient. Um, see, always talked about inner awareness is first, then you can balance outward actions, right? And of course, peace and awareness are all inside job. It's, finally, it talks about there is a true self inside, align with it. That's the word. Actually, this is in a more like a fulfilled life. You know, so we were told body mind complex is ours versus ancient or seeing being, and it is all outward work we are learning, but it is the inner work, inside job, right? And mind, ego, personality are the ourself, but then ancient said no, they are all your tools. Your true self is inside. And then of course, I talked about pursuing happiness versus realizing happiness that is already there in our interior. And then um, basically the subjective being versus all the objects outside. And you don't want to reminiscing of the past or daydreaming of the future, but really be here and now. You know, um, and we talk about developing mind, learning about things, and improving mind and all that. But they talked about there's no mind, only thoughts. Okay, so I also got 7 points I got as I was sitting down and thinking about it. Uh, but anyway, I enjoy myself. I kind of be in the present. I kind of turn inward and touch that beautiful, joyous being, and I do things outward, but then I do them with joy, not with trepidation, not with tension, not with even if they go wrong. That they used to bother me before, but now even they go wrong, I don't let myself be reacting to that. More like I kind of take it easy and then take it as a step I could learn, and then I don't deplete my energy by feeling bad or getting hurt or anything like that. And then I have more energy to do the stuff that I want to do. So that's how things happen to me on a daily basis. Okay, I don't know anybody is here or not. People are probably you know. Oh, hi Mojo, hi Gina. So two people are here. Uh, See, whenever you ask a question, you learn more. But if you passively listening, it may not be, you know, even the information is good, it may not go through, because this is the thing about learning is, do you want to learn something because you are enrolled in a course, or you have to get that done because you are um, right required to do it, like as physicians we have to do so many certifications, right? One of the certifications about um, abuse of the elderly and children, how to protect them, you get to certify in that, because it is so many years, it changes like a 5 years or so. Or ACLS, advanced cardiac life support, and there's so many new things coming up, right? So we get to learn about that and bring those principles. But if you go there mechanical and then you just want to listen and learn because they are giving you information, then you may retain very little. But if you have questions before, what are the protocols that are existing that need to be changed? What are the newer insights that contribute to better help or faster help or briefer help for the patients who are suffering cardiac arrest and all that? And what is the essence of it? What are the studies for saying? If you have all these questions, then go there. Then you will be looking for those answers because you have come looking for. I think it's true with any profession, right? So how can you learn by questioning is this: you are engaged with the matter first of all, and then you have thought about the matter in three four different ways, and then you are coming up with questions, and those questions stimulate you to pay attention, to learn the insights, that they may be learned lessons are there, right? They may be gained, and then also you can um, really doubt it. If they have some conclusions, you can doubt it, and then you want to reflect on it, you want to bring your own perspective. Generally it's not a question of uh, information and material. It's a question of how much you are interested in that particular subject, right? And then intuitively you will be knowing whether somebody is saying something true or somebody is not. So you go by your intuition, not by intellectual capacity, you know. But intuition has become very uh, neglected affair. It's considered only feminine, so it's not so. Many of the ladies have intuition awoke and arise mainly because they have the role of the mom, they have the role of protecting the life, right? They're much more to the earth, to the base. It's a very admirable quality. Their intuition is really awake and up there, right? So you can grasp some things with your intuition better than with all intellectual analysis, conclusions. They may be there for a while, but then whatever you understood only with pure intellect, analytical, is subject to change, right? So that's why question everything. Ask questions before you want to go and learn something. That's why I put this like ask me anything. If you have questions, then we can go into that. Not that I'm an authority on these things, but more like interested in these things. I like to examine the questions that are coming and then probe into those questions. Sometimes you may want to hold the question in yourself, not just no, just for the brief meeting, but like a few weeks. You know, if you have a real fundamental philosophical questions, don't answer them or don't settle for answers by somebody who calls themselves as expert. But if you explore that deeper and deeper and go around it with several questions, then you really, the question itself reveals the matter, right? Um, I remember Krishnamurti used to talk about this quite a lot. Are you asking anything, sir? He used to say. If you are asking questions about why there are so many wars, why there is so much violence in the world, why there is so much destruction of the earth, then you just don't just say, oh, because people don't get along each other. No, what has happened to them inside? Why they hold particular type of religion or political and political uh, more like a um, idealism or whatever they believe in, fundamental they become because whatever they were told is the truth, and then they want everybody else to follow, or they want to take over the economic and other resources and exploit people and get whatever they can get, right? So that's pretty common. So he was always inviting his audience, stay with the question, ask a question for a general things like what is the rate of this mango I want to buy. That's okay, that's not a big deal. But then how does the mango help your health? What are the ingredients in the mango that are really useful for you? Then that becomes like a probing question, right? You want to go deeper. But if you come to inward psychological or heart related matters, you got to ask these questions for a longer time and stay with the question for a longer time. And then the mind can probe into different directions and really reflect on them before accepting them or doubting them, you know. So that's what I learned from him. I think that was very valuable. So I don't settle down with any of these things when they come just like that. But but lately putting down on the paper and then seeing them every day, that also adds a lot of depth to it, because each day as you pass, you'll have more. That's one thing with the inner matters is the more you probe into your own interior, you see the depth of it, the deeper you go. Okay, it's not like a according to some psychologist or some philosopher, anybody like that. You don't want to define yourself. Oh, I'm that, this, and all that. But you kind of use that as a reference. That's okay. But then if you just say, there's just me. Let me be open. Let me be questioning continuously. And that reveals a lot about you and about your uh, understanding of the life and people and systems and everything around you. And then you go to the, okay, why did they say this at this particular juncture? And what was their real inner commitment or inner inquiry? All that is also very, very important, right? Many people these days, they don't want to stay on one particular thing for more than a few seconds. I think that's a tragedy, and I worry about that too, how kids are not able to be attentive for a long time on anything, you know so I mean, artificial intelligence is going to churn out lots of things, and uh, okay, but then do you want to be mechanical like that and then just gather facts, or do you want to see what is happening with these facts to me? Am I becoming more intelligence inside, or am I becoming mechanical and thereby dull? Okay, the way I use in artificial intelligence, for example, is many mundane things, many things that you have to do by spending a lot of time, a lot of energy. I let it do. So I have no problem with that. I have no problem if I want to write something. Sometimes I put my all these philosophical questions, and then I will tell him, okay, put this in a nice readable format, and then it does pretty quickly, right? And then my ideas, I'm not really copying somebody's ideas. I'm only suggesting this is the topic, these are the things I address there. Like, for example, today I was hoping to write this later on that. But what I said was, what I was told is not so. See, so much contrary to what I was told. That was the heading I said. And what are those things I was told? Why they are contrary? Where did this contrarian thing has come? And then you can see um, modern perspective of kind of going out, getting some pleasure, doing some things, and then are working for some bucks or whatever, and then realizing this is no meaning, this has got no significance. Versus um, having the control for the urge to have these external things, and then they let them go as though are not very meaningful from the beginning. That's what the ancients did, right? I'm not saying all moderns are wrong, but they can go or they can find out whether that has meaning for them later or not. But for these people, it's not just accidentally finding. What it is once you really focus your mind in the present moment and then close your eyes and go inside and then go beyond the thought structure, then you can you know you can discover states where you are for a prolonged period of time quiet and silent and still in the mind. But you get so much pride and achievement by being clever, by being sure, by being so many ways of thinking, but not having the feeling of this ecstasy and joy that you can feel inside if only you calm your mind. Okay. So somebody who kind of blessed probably with a calm mind all the time, because I am in the present moment awareness, right? That chattering or wandering mind, I don't give it too much importance unless I want to do so. Okay, I don't let it go unconsciously. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I want to use the thought, use it, and don't make it cyclical. That means it goes and stays in your mind and it comes back and all that. That's not the thing. That's very harmful. People don't realize that they get caught in that and they go swimming like that. But it is not going to be helpful for you to be creative, to be enjoying this joy inside, and to be accepting everybody as oneness. All those things are not there when your movement of thought is uncontrolled and unconscious, right? Hope I make a sense about that. But what I'm saying is, be quiet and see what happens. Be still in your thought and feeling and see what happens. Then you'll discover the beauty of being a human being, right? So that's what I'm saying. So that's the topic I was right and kind of reflecting, like, what are the so many things that were taught to me. um, the first one I wrote was body mind complex was we were led to believe that is us. This is my body and my mind. But that's not so. Those are our tools. Our real self is something inside. That's what I learned from the ancients. And the second thing I wrote was see, action is out there with the outgoing intellect and senses. Whereas ancient say it's an inside job. Okay, that's why I said have a simple outward life, sit down, close your eyes, and go inward. That inside job, that's where the action is. So like that, I went on writing down whatever came to my mind. And now I'm going to expand on that a little bit. If I want certain structure, I may use the um, AI, but otherwise, I like writing that down on my own. Okay, so think about it. question deeply, question for prolonged time, don't accept any answers from anybody, you know, then you will be going to the truth, not to the. See, we have this tendency to assume that somebody is authority on these things, that's why we go there. Certain scientific subjects, certain living our life, those kind of things are like that. But our inner life, totally different thing. That's where this therapists and psychologists and all that, if they don't let you see who you are, then they're not helping you in any way. Actually, they may not even know about this. Okay, so that's the problem with the modern psychology. Why there is so much mental health problems? Why they are not going down, even with the proliferation of so many sciences, so called, and so many therapists and all that? Why the consequences of the mental health disorder, like violence, like drug addiction, like unhappiness in that person's life and in also other world, there's more than unhappiness, suffering. That's going on. That never got down. I was observing for that from the time I came to this country. You see, a rich country having so many sources, so much creativity, so much invention, but why people are so unhappy in their personal lives, why there is so much increase in addiction, why there is so much battle in relationships, why there is so much energy spent on not able to control the guns and then make the guns kill people. The other day I was reading on the Supreme Court thing that they removed those gun locks or something that usually if you place this thing that will go through and make the gun like a machine gun, fires up maybe 60, 30 rounds in a second. And because the government wanted to ban it, I think it's the Trump time or so, when they kind of went to the Supreme Court and then that was banned. And then they are restoring it now because Supreme Court is removing that. So they want more people to be killed, and all these guns are getting more powerful. So why is that United States has so many guns? Why is that so much life is lost? Why is that people are supposed to be so intelligent, do not see the simple fact that they kill more people? Okay, so putting that gun lock is like kind of very important for people who want to fire 120 20 bullets in a second. So how many people on the other side? How would you feel if you are there on the other side? How would you feel if the family is there? So these are deeper questions. Why we go on doing this? You know. So I kind of have that tendency to question, and I would say deep sometimes maybe, but basically staying with it for a while, that reveals a lot of answers to you. You know. Also, this app was supposed to be for wisdom in the beginning, and now it is a new vibe for the wellness. But I don't see many people engage with me about this. Even though I come and I tell them, they just listen, but they don't ask me questions. They don't question what I'm saying. They don't express doubts and all of that. You know, they may be talking among each other, but they don't talk to me. And then when I invite people to be probing questions, they seem to have lost. Okay, so they just want some security with the people who are thinking at the same level, even though it's not going further. Okay, you don't want to wait for the entire life experience to know what's what. Anyway, I'm not frustrated. I'm just pointing out. I'm pointing out. I'm pretty happy with my own inner life. Okay. Actually, it's pretty joyful, blissful, right? I don't have to sit down and meditate because I ended up in the awareness. In the awareness, I have my thoughts, I have my feelings, and all that. I can see them, I can appreciate them as objects, and I can use it for betterment of my every aspect of life. At the same time, I can be protected from the ill effects of too much thinking or negative thinking or any of them, right? I don't really have to worry about that. Hopefully, you all have the same bliss and joy that is already there within you. Touch that by stilling your mind and calming your thoughts and feelings. Don't be reactive, but more like a responding to the challenges and enjoying those challenges and enjoying the response by doing things. Somebody wants to come finally. Okay, Cecilia. Uh-oh, what happened? The guest has left the talk, you say. Maybe she wants to come back again. We'll see. Okay. So stay with questions for longer time, you know, and linger on them, reflect on them. Don't accept immediate answers. That's what
Oh, I
I.
made it, Dr. Ra.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened, but I'm here. Yay.
yeah, good.
I just hear the birds in the background where you are, and
Yeah.
yeah, I heard you about, that a lot of people don't have questions for you, and I think like we're all enjoying like the place that you are in. Like, you
No,
know, um, uh, first of all, again the background that with all the birds, but also uh, the place of joy and bliss.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I was gonna ask you, like, is there anything that you feel would like really ruffle your feathers or really upset you? And I'll tell you why I'm asking that, because
Yeah, you are in Matrix now,
that
Cecilia.
passed away, and I think the closest. Can you
I'm
hear me?
losing. I'm losing you, Cecilia. You're
Oh,
going.
okay.
Yeah,
See,
maybe
it doesn't.
I heard some, but then the disturbance came in between.
There's an airplane. Usually the airplanes interfere.
Oh, okay, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better
Can you
now.
hear me?
Yeah,
Uh,
I can hear you now, Cecilia.
can you hear? Okay.
I will
So,
tell you this.
so
That I got the
I was
question.
asking.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
I got
So
it.
I was asking if you think that there's.
Oh yeah,
Well, I was gonna say to you first, like to finish up, it's because like recently my mother passed away, but also like I thought about any person that's like
yeah.
I feel like close to me, right? If
Mm,
they were to make their transition,
yeah,
there was a long time where I felt like maybe I didn't have like very many emotions because I wouldn't be like my world wouldn't be disrupted, right?
yeah,
Like I know I'm going to be okay, and I understand like I understand life,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
like part of it,
Mm,
but for a long time I thought like, wow, if I'm not going to be like emotional about things, like is there something wrong with me?
yeah,
you
yeah.
know
No, no, no.
uh,
We can be emotional, but that is not that we should be passive or dead or anything like that. But the thing is, understanding what is attractive to us and what is repulsive to us, both are the same coin. See,
okay.
two sides of the same coin. The like we are attached to somebody, and then when they depart, when they transition, you have that pain of not having them anymore, right? You can come back to Cecilia if you want to. So this is a very important question Cecilia asked because how can you be unruffled? Do you have uh, no feeling, passion, and
Right.
yeah, no, I mean, actually, some people tell me I'm so passionate with my ideas. Yesterday, I think Chelsea and me we were having a nice discussion. She said, Doctor, you are very passionate about what you think and all. I said, it's not just the passion comes from that natural yearning, but also you don't know that you are being so passionate because you are involved, right? For example, this cause of death in almost every family has it, right? Everybody loses somebody, or everybody kind of don't know how to handle it, and some people go to pieces. Actually, as a physician, because I was geriatrics, I had to read about the end of life issues, and later on, learned about the ancient view of what is death and dying, reincarnation, all those things, right? What is real death means, when you inquire all that, then if you suppose you know that you are going to die tomorrow, how would you live today?
Right. Yeah.
That's a question posed to me, Cecilia. Then I have to
With
say, yeah, I'm going to be in the present, right? I'm going to be
yeah.
doing everything that I have to do. Suppose I did something wrong to you, I'll come and say, sorry, Cecilia, I don't take it to the heart. I didn't mean it. Something like that, to make amends.
Right.
And we don't do
But you
that.
do that now.
Yeah, we don't do that because we go all the way thinking
Mhm.
we are going to last here forever.
Yeah, like we have so much time and we have no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. See, my approach to my mom was when she was alive. She died at 88 years. But then I lived with her for maybe 58 years. By the time I was 58, she died, right? So that means all those 50 years I was with her most of because I was the youngest. I drew, my father died very early, so my mom brought me up. So I kind of knew about her. And then after a few years here, I brought her here, with my wife and all that. So she was here at the last stages, but we made sure that we attended her, we kind of entertained her, we kind of fed her, took her to the hospital, whatever it is. Uh, like today, and then so that helped me to feel like I did whatever I could do while she was alive.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I, with my mother, I don't know if you've ever heard me share really, but
Yeah,
I didn't speak to my mother for 21 years in the year of the pandemic because I had went
yeah,
internally, looked within. I
yeah,
was able to reach out to her, and I know, like,
yeah.
if I didn't do that, and she just passed away this in April.
Come back, Cecilia. Come back. Yeah, many people miss time with our significant people because they think something will come later. So don't miss the, don't, yeah,
Yeah, and so I know that I would maybe
yeah,
have some like regrets
yeah,
or something like that. Have not did what I knew I was capable of doing, which was reaching out to her and letting her know,
yeah,
communication is open.
yeah,
Um, and for me, when transition,
yeah.
I was grateful.
Mm,
First of all, for our roles in each other's lives,
mm,
but also that she wasn't in any pain anymore and suffering.
yeah.
But also I think I learned
Mm,
so much more, like how we all have a different path, a different journey,
mm,
and we're not here to do the same things.
yeah.
We're not all here to get to a certain place. Like, I don't know about
There is
any
a there is
afterlives
a
or
great
anything of
saying.
the sort, but I just know that like
Yeah,
I've learned to really respect each other's
yeah.
special
There is
journey,
a
unique
saying,
place.
Cecilia, in ancient wisdom. It says, "Whatever is taken birth will die. Whatever
Can you
dies,
repeat that?
whatever has born, has taken birth, will die." Right? All living beings, right?
Right. Yes.
But whatever dies
Sure.
will be reborn. You see, that is the one which
Wow.
you kind of
Okay.
helped them to see the continuity of life, but the death is only in the middle as a some act, but it's not a permanent thing. We think
Right.
a person is gone, then we think it's all permanently gone. But when they are here, spend all the time, take care of them, address to their suffering, and just provide some enjoyment and all. Especially elderly, Cecil. I have seen that a lot as a geriatrician. Elderly are neglected even now. They are very neglected.
Mhm.
So we have to do whatever we can do while we are living in this moment. So
Mhm. Yeah.
then what happens is you don't have to have the regret that, oh, I did not give time to my parents, I did not give time to my children. That kind of thing won't be there. Celebrate.
Yes, and I'm
Yes.
absolutely. And I don't know if I've ever told you, but I'm a certified end of life doula. So,
Yeah, you know what I'm
these
talking.
are the
Yeah.
things that people want to let go of before they die. Resentments, unfinished business, guilt and shame. Like,
Exactly.
but we can do that while we're alive and live like way more peaceful lives.
Yeah. Did I
Um,
tell you about these two sisters who are very old? They had a argument at one time, and then they fell apart, and they didn't want to speak to each other for maybe 60 years. And then one sister heard the other sister is dying. Then she comes to visit her, and they says, "I'm going to only talk to you if only you are really dying. If you are not dying, if you are going to survive, I'm not going to talk to you." So what does it mean? That means her own transient feelings are more given importance than what is possible with the joyous relationship that she could have with her sister. See, I value that more than anything else.
yeah. And again, like so in the past, not even a whole year,
Hmm.
my mother, my aunt, and my uncle have all passed away.
Ah,
None of them speaking to each other. None of them, when they found out the other was ill, nobody called each other. Nothing.
yeah.
And that's when I had to really get to like the place of understanding that we're all not here doing the same things.
Yeah.
Like, making peace and working our way towards freedom. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily our objective. Like everyone is not here doing the same things, playing the same roles,
They do
and
according to their karma, according to whatever they are doing, they will reap that. They sow the seeds and then reap them later on. So that's
yeah,
individual.
yeah,
So there's a lot of explanations that are there in ancient wisdom were about deeper issues of life, which they have found through meditative awareness. See, scientifically, we may observe something, we want to experiment on, we want to do the theory. That's outward things. But inward things, you experience, and you come with those insights, and then you kind of relate to other people. Other people check that. Like, for example, I say there is joy in life. You can be joyful all the time. That's not a statement. That's the experience, right?
right,
Then you can experiment with that, and you find your own joy.
right, yeah,
And that's where the problem is. People don't want to investigate by themselves. They want to take somebody else's words and then apply that. That is
yeah. But
not.
aren't we taught that too, to be like
Yeah,
comparing ourselves to
yeah,
another? So
yeah,
you should be wanting what this person has because they are
yeah,
in this state of, I don't know, wealth as in money or whatever. So
yeah,
you should
yeah.
try and follow
Don't
that,
compare.
rather than,
Yeah, don't compare
sorry,
with anybody. Don't compare with anybody.
right?
We
Yeah,
should be teaching
exactly.
that. Yeah, actually, I learned that very, very early because I have this self-esteem given by my mother's love, heartfulness. So there was no justification for anybody saying anything to me because I never felt inadequate, even though I don't have the major things like other people. But my feeling is I'm complete. I'm loved by my mom. I was heartfully given everything to me, recognition. She did not say, "Oh, you are great" or anything. She just accepted. She just gave me the same warmth all the time, and that grew on me. And then I became more heartful. Then I found out ancient said you got to get your mind into your heart. Then you become real heartfulness. You see, if you get your mind into your heart, then you are fine, So later on, I found out much more detail about that, Cecilia. This is important point. That's why I interrupted you. This is there's so much teaching, so much experimentation, so much experience on this. Is we have come with a spiritual heart to begin with. As children, we are very joyful, very giving, very loving, right? Because we are completely a spiritual heart at the time. And then you begin to develop this mind which really goes and away from the heart, and then we are all mind. And that's why you have so much division, so much problem. But so that's why meditate and bring that mind into your heart and function heartful.
Yes. I used to hear, get out of your head, get into your heart.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. But then that's not that simple though, because we are always in the head.
Right. Yeah.
We are in the past, we are in the future. That means what? We are in the head.
Right. Yeah.
We are in the present, then we are not in the head.
Right.
But if you look at an entire culture from east to west, it has drifted from that heartfulness into this mind.
Mm-hmm.
But you learn to use the mind, but don't be slave to the mind.
Right. Yes. I saw this movie yesterday. Inside Out 2, and it's from Disney.
Yeah.
And it's it's pretty much what we're talking about. The joy, right?
Yeah.
Emotion of joy is overcome by anxiety. And joy says, well, maybe this is what happens when we grow older.
Yeah.
That maybe this is just how it is, and we lose our joy. And that's what made me cry through the movie, because it's like, I know I've experienced that, right?
Yeah.
So much of us do. Let our experiences like override.
Yeah, every heart knows this, Cecilia. We know it intuitively. That's why it comes out, when somebody presents a play or something like that. But then what I'm saying is, there's a systematic way you can do this. That is what I learned as a doctor, as a physician, as a scientist, as a yogi. I had to learn this so that I can help with my patients. Even the doctors who are burnt out, they come. Initially, when they come to the profession, they come with the intention of helping other people. That means they are heartful at the time. But then these degrees, this wealth, how much money we get, doctors and all, that goes to the head, and they're full of head. They lose their heart.
Right. Yeah.
That's why they cannot serve the patients like they used to serve in the beginning, right? Then they feel like, we are big deal and nothing doing with anybody else. So that kind of separation comes, then you are suffering because of your own head has taken over. Well, they say it has gone to his head, right? That is exactly, we are always in the head. I think it's a very simple thing if you just be a human being without all those attributes. So I always introduce them to the service aspect of it. If they can really be service oriented in every action. I think, have you seen my room, Sivagnana Jiva Seva?
Have I seen what? I'm sorry.
I have a house in Clubhouse. It's called Sivagnana Jiva Seva. What it means is that every human being has this life force, which is like a God. That is there in everybody. That's why they are having the life. So that life force is Shiva means that life force. Knowing that God's element is in everyone, and then serving that force is like serving that human being. Right? When you serve that human being, it becomes the service to the divinity within them. So I take that approach. That's why it's not simply I'm telling something somebody, but I'm pretty aware of that life force within that is equal to God, that is everywhere, and that's pervading everybody. So I relate with that. That helps a lot to Cecilia,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for having me up. And yeah,
Oh.
I love listening to you. And I got to say that when you speak louder, it's much easier to hear you. Sometimes your volume is very low, so it's hard to hear you.
I think my voice goes
Yeah.
down. Yeah, I kind of mumble probably. Yeah.
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 So it's much easier when your volume is up. We can hear you a lot better. But yeah, what made me really come up was you know, the when you're speaking about, you know, joy and being in bliss and like blissful like all of the time. And
You know, I never answered your question. You asked me, do you get rattled or irritated?
Yes. Mhm.
You know what? That used to be the case, right? So I was very reactive, like everybody else, and all that. But then, as I saw the reactions reflect on as they gone down, I became very non-reactive. In a way, I respond to the thing with humaneness.
Mhm.
But I don't myself react because there is no ego there.
Right.
That
Yeah.
transcending the ego is important. Then you don't feel like even somebody says something and all that. Fine, you know, that's their opinion, and then I don't react as much as I used to, and that is very healthy because I don't generate stress hormones for myself by reacting.
Right.
So you can get to that, but it is depends on how earnest you are about that reflections.
Right. I was gonna ask you another question. So
Sure.
let's say if it was, I don't have children, I'm just using this as an example. You have like somebody in your family
Yeah.
like on drugs and they lie and things like that, you know, out of like the addiction, which is really like pain.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not out of the question, but I face that all the time, not with the family, but with my patients who are my extended family, right? So many of them come with the frailties of the humans, with all this. But the important thing for me is I don't judge them by their behavior, by their traits, and all that, because I go to the being level.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you once you bring that out, they kind of very receptive. But if I go there with my ego and say, "Oh, I'm so pure, I'm so good, I don't react, and I have no habits and all that," then that is the ego coming up,
Yeah.
right?
I
Then,
always say like switching that to like compassion, you
Yeah.
know, because it's obvious when we're in addiction,
exactly,
then
exactly.
it's pain and
But you know, it's not like a switching compassion. I know what you mean. That I agree with that. What I'm saying is, you go to that condition of egoism, which is not having the compassion.
okay.
And then compassion will be there already because you are eroding the structure that is irritated, that is taking on other people, judging them, or telling them you're not good enough. That's not there. Then your natural heartfulness, which is the compassion, kindness, consideration. Actually, I melt in some. I see somebody with the suffering, I melt for them, and that helps me and them too because they listen to me because I come there non-judgmental but with the attitude of I'm here help you
Right.
without
Now,
saying
okay,
anything.
so
Yeah.
but you're saying this is your extended family, your patients,
Yeah.
extended family. Now we do have a different, you know, feeling and thoughts about
No.
our blood family that we, you know, can
No,
handle.
no.
Even though to me it's a lot, you know, it's the same, right? We're
I
all
know what you
the
mean,
same
but
one.
but remember this: when you are in the oneness, not just the word, but the oneness, there is no immediate family, extended family, only
Yeah,
descriptions. The feeling is the same though. I don't have this special extra thing for the family and then nothing for the other people. It's more like a this heartfulness includes everybody.
That's right. Yeah.
I didn't come to that just like that. Only
Right.
after long years of this, and also really understanding what are the monk's mind, what's the monk's heart, how do the sages really, because once you know that we are all in one energy, Cecilia, we are not different. We may have a different body, different personality, different sex, and all that. That's fine. But then, in essence, one energy level, we are all one.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to
Yeah.
turn it around and try and trick you a little bit.
No, no, it's not trick.
No,
It's
I'm
an
just kidding.
important
But
question. No,
yeah, I just want.
important question. I'm glad you asked it that, because it's not a question of personal achievement, but it's a question of it is already there for all of us. Only thing is we kind of don't recognize that. You know, that is the self-realization that they aimed for, because that state where you can be uh, not really developing excessive affection to somebody and then not having anything for others. That is kind of
Right.
thinking, oh, these people are mine, these people are not. And you kind of erode that separation. The more you are not separate from the real continuous energy, the happier you are.
Yes. Yes. And this actually, now that I'm up here, have me thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Um, so just probably about 8 years ago,
Hmm.
I saw my father for the first time in like 35 years.
Yeah.
Somebody had reached out to me telling me that she was a teacher, and that she'd been feeding this homeless man that's been in like our town, City Hall, the town that I grew up in, but haven't been in so many years. And apparently, no, I know this guy is my father, right? So the first time I seen him in 35 years was on a park bench that was his home. And it's because he got hit by a car in Puerto Rico, and that's where he's from, and he wasn't able to take care of himself very well anymore. But so my sister wound up getting all the paperwork he needed to get into a facility so they can take care of him. I had this little thing of like feeling of, I'm so glad that he's being taken care of, and like I feel good with that he's in this home, he's in this facility. But I guess maybe it's a little bit of like in my head of like, should I be doing more?
Yeah.
But I ask myself, because it's a constant question I ask myself now, is like, first of all, is what I'm doing in my life, if I were to die at this moment, would I be okay with where I am? Would I be happy with, I died in the state of Colorado? Absolutely. With my friend and her 2 kids right now, yes, having a wonderful time. But is everything else in my life, like, would I be okay with how I'm not really in touch with my father? I know he's being taken care of, but like, I can't really have a good conversation with him because mentally he's not really there and he can't really hear. But I think this is on my maybe, I don't know, guilty conscience a little bit or something.
Yeah, exactly. And no doubt about it, because it's I want to give you a very simple answer for that. What do you do in meditation is resolving this kind of inner, inklings that we have. It's not that you go to forget and say, I'm not going to care, it's all happened, he's not here, why should I worry about it? That's not it. It's a question of understanding our human affections, human, responsibility to each other. We are brought up in that atmosphere, right? So there is a special thing like if I don't take care of my parents, I'm a bad person in a small way, right? And then we feel I should have been there more. I used to have that before, because my grandpa, who used to come, he lived up to 103 years. Okay. And when he was dying, I was very young, but he used to come at 94. I was very young, and he used to take me to movies, right? And he lived for a long time, but he died at 103. And it used to be, I used to feel, oh, I should have visited him more. I should have, but I was busy with medicine and all that. I could not go. But then I felt like my affection for him made like I should have visited him more often, right? He died with family in the house and all that, but still I felt like that. So that is the human attraction, that raga they call it in Sanskrit. And then that the same raga, if we can turn into a kind of animosity, hatred for those people if they don't behave properly. That is the dvesha. So because you have the feeling of attraction to them, you have this aversion also. They are the two sides of the same coin. You cannot escape that. What it is practically is understanding and accepting that, and then in this moment, is that there, or am I only memory wise I'm bringing it back? What it is I used to tell my patients who are having this feeling, then I say, now you know if you have done that, you will not have this guilt feeling. You teach that to your children. Thereby, you are serving the dead parent. You see, because the dead parent's experience with you has become a lesson for the future generations, and then they can take care of you better, not with that selfish interest, but at least you are inculcating that nurturing feeling in them. See, I used to
Yeah.
always make them. You can make your father alive again just by understanding what he stood for and implementing them in your life. Good things that he has done, right? And that
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
you even the dishes also. Oh, he loved this particular cake. I'm going to bake this cake on this birthday and remember him by, and then celebrate his life. So we can turn these feelings into very positive things by really understanding and not feeling guilty about it, because that guilty feeling, if you let it go, it will become longer and longer. But converting that energy of guilt into something positive.
Yeah. And I also have to say, like,
Hmm.
my father wasn't around when I was like growing up, but
Yeah.
I never harbored these like negative feelings about him. It was just,
Come back. See, I'm going to tell you something very important now. You see,
I was just gonna say, I just didn't know him.
Yeah.
That's it, but
Yeah.
I didn't have any negative feelings towards
I
him.
know,
I
I
just
know.
didn't know him.
I know. It's a kind of a split family and then single moms and all that. You see, what it
Yeah,
is
exactly.
at this time, what it is you take that problem, not just your personal problem, but if you look at the society wise, families are breaking down. A lot of fathers are not there when the children are growing up, right? Then you can see what was the why are they happening, what is the forces in society that is making these single moms grow. You can think about that in a bigger way and understand that, and that is where your questioning should be going. Then it's not going to be your personal suffering, but your personal experience helped you to dig into a much deeper problem and then helping that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
Yeah.
you question deeper. See, I question things very deep and then bigger scale. That's why I come to understand human condition better. You see, and that understanding that human condition and thinking deeper and wiser, it's already done centuries ago in so many cultures, including America, right? And then you want to bring that, but what we are doing is we're just sold to technology and immediate gratification. And that is why I tell them how to use technology, but at the same time how to improve your mind and the heart like this.
Right.
Deep
Yeah.
questioning, yeah, that's what it is. Not just looking at, oh, I'm going to have fun. That you can have fun, but you can also allow yourself to be questioning deeply, so that you can probe them because you are interested. You know the suffering of a child that is not taken care of the father or mother, right? But you look at me. I lost my father and I was 1.5 years old. Practically, I don't know him. But my mom was so loving. It's not about things, it is about feeling, it's about how she conveyed everything, how she approved me and everything. That gave me tremendous self-respect, right? And also gave me so much incentive to do good in life. And
Yeah.
so see,
That's definitely how what I feel like I've learned from my
yeah,
childhood, like
yeah,
to how to treat people.
yeah. See, 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 see.
Opposite of how we were treated. Like I
Yeah,
want to know, I want people to feel good around me.
yeah,
I want to
that's
leave
good.
good
You see, that is the
memories,
empathy you
feelings.
have, that empathetic loving feeling you have. and that is coming out because of your interactions, and you are left
Right.
alone to learn this thing too. What I'm saying is that single child is coming in, but if the father or mother who is raising them, they don't have the heartfulness, and they are just being clever, they're just being shrewd, they're being only worldly, then these kids also don't learn that inner spirit of let me help other people, let me make their life day better. Those things won't be there because if you allow
Right.
them to be just selfish, they're certain only to myself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ralph, for
Yeah,
your time. I was just like, especially curious of like,
yeah,
yeah, do you feel like, let's say, I guess the closest person that you think to you,
yeah,
do you feel like, of course, first of all, I think like death as a, like death from this like
yeah.
earthly adventure, I always call it as graduation.
Yeah, did I tell you about what
Like a
I did with my
graduation.
sister? Did I tell you that story? My sister is
Um,
now 80 years now, Cecilia. She had a daughter at 52 years. She had a heart failure, suddenly died, right? And that daughter had a daughter, 18 years old. And this woman died in the arms of that 18-year-old kid. You know, I was at a major interview in Wisconsin, and when this happened, and night for them, day for the night, right? So they called me around 10:30 when I came back from a very busy day. Like 50 people interviewed me. It's a big position. That's why I was going to take it. So I was completely right, and suddenly this news came, and then my sister was completely upset because her daughter died, and that kid was completely gone because my mom died in her arms, right, frothing around her. So I brought them into normalcy. Not that they forgot the person they were loving and all that, but they didn't put themselves through the suffering of this ignorance and suffering. Right? I
right.
went through everything and all that, and then finally, within a month, they were normal. With the death, you can do that. You don't have to suffer what we call grief reaction, where your actual physical brain is affected with an intense sorrow.
Yes.
That is
And I
not
feel like,
needed.
sorry, that grief thing too is
Yeah.
like, I feel like it's a little, maybe guilt
Mm,
sometimes,
mm, yeah.
like we're so sorry and we're so sad. Well, I guess it's a few different things, but I feel like a lot of the time too, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, we didn't get to say what we wanted to say. Well, why aren't you saying it now? Get busy.
Yeah. No, it's not just getting busy, but understand there is a knowledge about this, and let us learn about how to deal with the grief, and then
Yeah.
also go on, live your life, but at the same time, remember those people and do what they did in their life as a tribute to them.
To remember, yes, to
Yeah.
remember and keep them.
Yeah. Thank you, Cecilia. I think that was good. I like to answer these questions like that, which are really important. It all happens to all of us. It's not that we are superior than anybody. No, it's a question of sharing the understanding on grief, on death and dying, on separation, on feeling lonely or guilty. All these things are common, right? But we don't want to examine them. We want to kind of, you know, escape them sometimes. That is where understanding doesn't happen. But if you should have these questions, go and inquire into them. Go and find out. Don't go away from the deeper questions because they have potential to teach you, to transform you from within. That's when you gain this resilience for the problems of life and also able to deal better with them. Okay, that's what's happening. Even the doctors and everybody, they are burning out because they don't have this inner resilience to face life, to deal with the problems of life, to have the capacity to go through the problems and come out much richer than crushed. Okay, that's what I do. I try to help people to be inner resilient, and I start with the body. and I start with the mind, and then I help them to go through that, and then also how to turn the inward and then see that diamond I talk about, that inner resilient diamond, that existence, consciousness, joy within us. But we give so much importance to outgoing intellect, outgoing mind, outgoing senses, we lose our inner self. That's all I'm saying. Come back to the inner self and revive it, strengthen it, and then you can act on your objects of life or body and mind and make them very resilient. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Cecilia, coming and asking me all those wonderful questions. I really enjoyed that. So I hope to see you again later on. So I'll take leave now, and I'll be back again. Bye bye.